Russell, I'm going to start by making this a bit personal about me to begin with. I mean, the promos for It's a Sin have been on telly for weeks now. And every time I watch them, I get this physical reaction, like goosebumps. And I've been trying to work out why. And I think it's because it dawned on me that as a gay man, had I been born a generation earlier, this programme would have been about my life and about my friends. Tell me why you wrote it.
That's very true. It's very possible. I was 18 in 1981. I was that generation that left home. You go to the big city and you go to find life, and you find your family, your made-up family. And at the time when we did this in 1981, there was a great big shadow slowly creeping across the Atlantic, coming from America, of a brand new disease called HIV, a virus called HIV, which causes AIDS. And so that decade of our lives, this drama goes from 1981 to 1991, over 5 episodes, shows life being lived as that virus got closer and closer.
Do you think this is a period that there was a danger we were going to forget about?
I think that's... It is possible. It's very strange to me, born in 1963, that this is referred to as a period drama, just because it's set in 1981. I find that unbearable. Our lives are period dramas now. But yes, I think the world marches on. I think things get forgotten. But it's very interesting with a new virus coming along now that it's on the news every night. And part of the problem with the HIV virus is that it wasn't on the news. It happened in silence and it happened in fear. And that then makes people lie. And that then makes people ashamed. And the closet door just tightens and the situation gets worse and worse. That silence literally led to more deaths. So what a strange time. It's good for all of us to look back. I think 18-year-olds might watch this with open eyes going, wow, life was like that. But I think we will as well. We will be amazed to remember it and see what it was like.
Yeah, inevitably, I think people will compare what's going on in the world now with the coronavirus with HIV/AIDS. But I wonder if someone came out today and said they had coronavirus, they wouldn't be stigmatised in the press. They wouldn't be called, the gay plague and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. It is a different world in that sense. And the prejudice of the time was shocking, absolutely. And if only it could have been talked about. But of course, it was seen then as a sexually transmitted disease. It's more complicated than that. But nonetheless, for the sake of this argument affecting the gay male population, that's what it was. And of course, with any sexual subject, everyone clams up and gets embarrassed. When it's gay sex, there's twice as much embarrassment. And more than embarrassment, there's genuinely a generation of men who weren't out at home, who were in the closet, who were terrified of coming out. And it's hard to say, mate, but like people died in hospital alone. Some people didn't even tell their friends they were ill because they were so ashamed. A lot of families buried their sons saying that they died of cancer or they died of pneumonia because they were so ashamed of saying that it was AIDS. And I'm not criticizing those families. My goodness me, if you go through the death of your child like that, then you are permission to behave in any way you want, but there was a lot of anger and a lot of fear and there was bad behaviour as well. And it's time to look back and it's time to kind of understand it. Actually, it's time to forgive it in a lot of cases.
In Wales at the moment, we're having the discussion about how we teach our kids in schools. There's talk about changing the curriculum. Are you one of those people who thinks it's right that perhaps we do LGBT plus history so we know about the people who came before and how they changed things and their contribution to life?
I do, absolutely, as part of history. I don't believe in a separate section hiving us off into a pink corner. But you could talk about Julius Caesar having male lovers. I think it's just part of history. The constant questions about William Shakespeare to this day, I just think that those are interesting and fun things to discuss and debate. It's just ease it into the curriculum with every other fact. And people will complain and say there's no need for it. But what straight people never realise or don't care about is that unless you do that, everyone's considered automatically to be straight. And straight people never see that, never understand it, and so sit there, probably staring at their televisions now, blithering in ignorance. It needs doing, and it will be done with people like us making it happen.
Let me ask you about this crazy year we've had. You are in Swansea now. You've spent the time in Wales. Has it been a productive period creatively, or do you think, God?
I've been very lucky, actually. It's like, because I've had It's a Sin to work on, so I've been getting the show ready. And I think my work has scaled down slightly. Well, television stopped, more or less. You hear about things filming, but they're just very expensive Netflix dramas, which most of us can't afford. And, theatre and television, it's the actors you want to feel sorry for. I'm all right. I've got savings. I'm fine. I mean, the most actors, and I don't mean lead actors have got a bit of money. 99.9% of actors are jobbing actors. They're about a part here, part there, 6 months in Annie, 2 months in Blackpool. And that's a whole group of people with no savings. They haven't got gardens, they haven't got yards, and you can't raise sympathy for them. Everyone has sympathy for nurses and teachers, obviously, quite rightly, but try saying poor actors, and you can see people's faces glaze over, and they will fall out of the industry. They are giving up acting. They are trying to find other jobs. It's enormously damaging. So I feel quite guilty. I've been fine. I'm very fine. I'm very lucky, but I'm intimately connected to an industry that's ruptured. Bad times.
Let me ask you, we celebrate you as one of our greatest Welsh writers. You're in Wales, you spend a lot of time in Wales now. And as a writer, you observe. What are you observing about Wales right now? Do you think we're changing? We've got a rising independence movement, although it's still in the minority. What do you think is going on with Wales right now?
I think I'm 57 years old, and this is the first time I'm beginning to listen to that rising independent voice. Seems to be getting stronger, which I think is fascinating. I'm not sure we have a Senate that I quite hand power over to yet, but actually as these things build, anything to detach us from Whitehall, because let's not even pretend that they care. Let's not even pretend. We're like 57th on the agenda. I think the communication in the virus between Wales and Whitehall has shown that how low we are down the list. That's fine. Let's get off the list. Let's hop it. Off we go. Let's start.
Are you on the, what some might call, indie curious?
What does that mean? Is that a sex question? What are you talking about?
You're curious about independence.
Right, I am. Yeah, I am. I don't think we're not ready for it yet. My goodness me, that place needs to clear out, and that's a big system that needs sorting out. Even just coming down here, I'm here. I've been down here for the lockdown. I take eye drops for my eyes. Do you know what? Prescriptions are free down here. They're not in England. What a fine country. Let's start the movement.
Russell, thank you for It's a Sin. I know it's going to be hugely popular, and thank you for joining us here on Sharp End. Come back again and see us sometime.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.